I think very much at the beginning already in Surah Baqarah, when we did those verses. Then we translated those verses, and the verses, where Allah says that when my slave calls on me, I am near. I remember those verses so clearly, because ultimately, what do we want? We want that nearness, and that relationship with Allah. And hearing it, when you're sitting there with this book, and you're hearing it from your Lord, and Allah is telling us all we need to do is call on Him. It broke me down. Speaks of the greatness of the Quran. If it had come down upon a mountain, what would happen? And also His sifat. Subhanallah, how does He describe Himself in His own book? Allahu Akbar. I had no idea that those names we can live on a human level on this earth. And it really made me feel like there's no other medium here. All we have to do is call on Allah. Those were very much in the early stages of our translation. But I remember the feeling that it gave me, and the confidence and the hope it gave me. And the second verse was from Surah Hujurat, my favorite surah. And this is why I love Quran, because that taught me akhlaq and adab. And it is in verse 17 where Allah speaks about the favor that He bestowed upon us, that we should not think that we are doing Allah any favor, but other than Allah doing a favor upon us. When we started our journey with Quran, we realized that we needed to really learn to get to know Allah better. And what I realized is that if you want to love somebody, it's no use you want to love somebody because you don't understand the language that this person is speaking. So the same way, we want to love Allah, and you want to draw nearer to Allah. But if you don't understand what Allah is telling you, how are you going to get that deep connection with Allah? The fact that He allowed me to articulate it was enough, that I'm already grateful for. And increasing in my dua, it helped me to give my children the tools they needed to navigate this dunya, that I feel sad to see in others, families and children, that they don't have. And really, from the absolute bottom of my heart, I want families to learn Quran so that they can help their children for the generations to follow, especially for what is happening out there. A patient that I had to deal with very recently, she was going through a very difficult trial, a very difficult test, and she by nature is an extremely anxious patient, suffering with severe mental health illness. And her children had asked me to break some bad news to her, with the thought that when she's going to get this bad news, that she's going to fall apart and that they're going to have to admit her to hospital. And I sat with her and I asked Allah to guide me, and all that couldn't come out of my mouth was the verses of Quran. I said to her, that Allah is testing you. I gave her the verses in Surah Baqarah, that Allah says that in times that Allah is definitely going to test us, and that glad tidings to the one who actually says Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And in that moment when I was explaining these verses of Quran to her, I could actually see this tranquility descend on her, and for her to feel completely contented and accepting of the news that she had been that she was given, was truly an effect that the Quran was the shifa, and that Allah is the shifa. It makes me realize every day that me as a doctor, it's not actually me that's helping my patients, but it's through me, via the Quran and via this relationship with Allah, that I'm able to serve my patients a little bit better, I hope. As-sabiqun, as-sabiqun. Allahu Akbar. You have to go and find out what's the meaning of that verse. And if that's not enough to get you there, then I'm going to tell you that there are 3 groups. Which group do you want to be in? When you decide which group you want to be in, you will see yourself in Surah Waqiyah. And I will see you there too. And come and say hello, inshallah al-Aziz.